64 of Speak on It. I am your host, Danny Ocean, as always, joined by the smoothest man on the planet, Roasty Mix. How you living, baby?
Hey man, it's another beautiful week. Glad to be back. I'm excited. Excited to be back. Excited to be podding again. I think this is going to be a really good audio adventure for our listeners. I think because we are starting off officially our NFL preview
Yes,
countdown.
sir. Yes,
We're going to be
sir.
looking at all of the divisions over the next couple of weeks and who we think is going to be turning out to be divisional winners and how the season's supposed to be playing out. But I'm excited, man. You know, it's been another good week. I mean, what you been up to? What was your week like?
It's been a good week. It's been a good start to the week. Let me see. How is life going? I don't know, life is pretty good. Like I can't complain too much. Got some stuff done around the house. Always feel accomplished when I do that. Like you
What do
said
you have?
tonight.
What do your house chores look like? I saw you smoking some meat paws on the grill.
that was my chore. So I found some beef back ribs. So I bought some. I smoked them this weekend. It took longer than I thought. It took like 4.5 hours. I let them rest for like another hour. They were a little salty. I put a little too much salt. Almost had a stroke. Blood pressure went through the roof Sunday
It's
night, but
not
they
the
were
fact that
good.
you eat on that meat paws, red
Yeah, that
meat
joint.
paws.
Hey man, them ribs was tender. They were tender. Like I hit the mark on the tenderness. I just put a little bit too much salt in it. That's all.
How many days a week do you think you hit the grill or grill something? Because you be in your grilling bag. I be watching your IG and I'm like, man, my man, god damn, he be finding the rib back, the duck back, the back,
Oh
the cattle
God,
back, the tent back.
I so usually and this might get too personal. Monday through Thursday, my wife cooks. Friday, Saturday, we usually get takeout, and then Sunday I usually grill. Now there are some times of the week where I grill twice a week, but usually it's Sunday. Sunday when I have time to do something and
Sunday.
I
You
have time to
grilling on the
smoke some meat.
NFL's day?
Oh man, let me tell you something, man. Nothing, especially when it gets cold outside, like when it's November and it's dark and I'm cooking steaks and I got my iPad out there watching the game of the week, man. Ain't nothing like it.
Yeah, ain't nothing like
Ain't
watching
nothing
the
like
Eagles
it.
lose by 20 while grilling. It's a beautiful thing, ain't it?
You know what?
It
I was going to compliment the Packers. Like it's for whatever reason, I really enjoy watching it. I guess because it's cold and it's dark outside, and usually they're in Green Bay. Like somebody watching the Packers outside while grilling is very therapeutic. But you decided to be rude to me for no reason.
Nah, ain't no
So
need to do that. Ain't no need to do that. Uh,
um, let's
all
do
right,
some
what we talking about today,
housekeeping. Yeah, let's first of all, the show is brought to you by goingfor2.com. Head over to goingfor2.com for all your daily fantasy needs. Football season is back. Drafts are starting to be. You're starting to get our chat going again. It's starting to get criticized and start catching some strays. Um, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just having the biggest brain fart on earth. Training camp. A lot of rookies reported training camp today. Football is back. And because of that, tonight we're going to break down the NFC West. We're going to talk about our division winners. We're going to talk about MVPs, intriguing storylines. At the same time, we're going to talk about Deandre Ayton getting paid and what that means for the Suns. We're going to talk about college football, the landscape, all these teams jumping divisions. What does that mean? D, you're going to get in your track bag and you're going to talk about the World Championship. I know there's some
Oh yeah.
controversy there. I can't wait to hear what you have to say. Then we're
Oh
going to talk about the
yeah.
home run derby, LeBron going back to the Drew League, and yeah, we got a lot to talk about. So if it's okay with you, I'd like to get started.
Let's do it, man. Let's
All
get
right, let's
into
let,
it.
let's kick this joint off in the NBA. DeAndre Ayton got the bag from
Did he?
Phoenix last week after locking him in into their future plans going forward. The question is, do you think the Suns are going all in on Booker, Ayton, and CP3? Do you think betting on them will eventually pay off, or do you think it's a mistake?
I mean, look, I see it from both. I see it from two angles. One angle is, yo, there's a chance to get Kevin Durant. Why do you want to lock in DeAndre Ayton so early into this offseason, especially when you see that there hasn't been a lot of free agency movement, so you have some time. But I think the the logic, the logician in me. Okay, new words.
Okay.
The logician in me just says, hey, this team has made a finals before. We led the league in wins last year with this score. Let's try to keep it intact as much as we can and build around that. And so I think with that, I think I see what the Suns are doing, and I'm just glad that Deandre Ayton got his bag. I mean, he can call the people and let them know they ain't got to work no more.
Yeah, for real.
They ain't got to work no more.
I respect DeAndre Ayton in the fact that he was willing to go to Indiana to get paid, because people go to Indiana to die in their careers.
Yeah, what's up with you in Indiana? You got mad.
No, I have no issues with Indiana. I just know, like, when's the last time Indiana basketball has been relevant? Paul George was there. It's 10 years ago. When last time you see Indiana on anything? It's hard to build a championship squad in Indiana because you're not going to get someone in free agency, and you're going to have to draft someone, and then that person is going to leave. Like, they draft Paul George. He was like, you know what? I don't want to be here anymore, and he got traded. So shout out Deandre if you get the bag. I mean, if you're Phoenix, this is all you can do. Like, if you traded for Kevin Durant, you're going to have to give up. They're going to want Devin Booker. Like, that's the start. Like, we want Devin Booker, probably Bridges or Crowder or some sort of that combination. So if you're Phoenix, run it back. It's been successful. I mean, last year you let Luka beat the piss out of you, but that was an anomaly. If you're Phoenix, you probably think that won't happen again. So went to the finals with this core.
Are we sure that wouldn't happen again?
I would like to think that it would happen again, but I know Phoenix fans would think that what Luka did to them was an anomaly. So I'll let them sleep with that if that's okay. Yeah, I don't blame. Yeah, Phoenix. This is your only choice to contention is running it back. The only issue is Chris Paul is another year older. Like, how much longer can he do this?
Okay, so my thing is, it's like, and no disrespect intended, which is funny because I don't know if you noticed in our fantasy football group chat, someone started a statement with no disrespect intended, and then just decided to go ahead and
extremely disrespectful.
So it's so funny how people start off sentences with no disrespect intended, and they proceed to violate you. Like, yo, like, why don't we be like, yo, no physical pain intended, and just start slapping the shit out of people? Like, what? That's essentially what they're doing with words. But with that being said, I mean this in the most respectful way possible. But who wants to play in Utah? Not Utah, in Indiana.
I mean, it's the Utah of the East.
Oh man. Now don't do my good folks in Indiana like that. Although there was a certain clan that was started in Indiana that doesn't get talked about enough. That the government doesn't see it as a terrorist organization, but heaven forbid somebody protests that. Never mind. Do you think? And let me ask you something.
Okay.
I think this move by the Suns essentially takes them out of the KD race. I think it's them saying we're not getting Kevin Durant. So, do you think, just given where we are at with Kevin Durant and the Kyrie, there hasn't been a lot of movement. Do you think that we're trending towards KD and Kyrie staying in Brooklyn and just kind of amid this trade market that they have?
I think so. I will say DeAndre Ayton can't be traded until January 15th, and I think he gets to have a say in where he goes until next offseason, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, I think at least for the start of the season, KD and Kyrie are going to have to run it back with Ben Simmons, which is what they should be thinking about doing anyway. That team, that's a good team. That's a team that can compete against Milwaukee. I know they lost Brown, but this Nets team can compete. Like, they can compete right now. So I don't understand.
We gotta ease up off the net. Yeah, they got swept, but that was a good team. What turned out to be the best team in the East and took the champions to what, 6?
Yeah, 5? And that's because Chris Middleton got hurt. Let's not trip. Milwaukee is the best team in the East.
They were looking good though.
Like,
it's funny because what was the Golden State Warriors' problem? They were not a big team. Pause. Yeah. Man, if they would have played the Bucks, it would have been a long day.
like Giannis would have averaged 30 plus. Like
He
who
wouldn't
picked
even
up
put top
Giannis?
15 on the regular.
Who picking up Giannis?
Draymond.
Draymond? Come on, dog. Like Draymond is an elite defender, but Giannis is on another level.
Well,
Um,
that's a good point. I think the Middleton injury definitely did something, but we got to speak on the facts of what happened, and
yeah,
Bucks, they got knocked out, and so I mean the Celtics were the best team that came out the East, and I still think next season they're going to be a top two, top three seed.
yes, absolutely.
I think
Um,
if you're the Brooklyn Nets, I mean, yeah, you lost to a team that eventually went on to win the chip, but so be it.
I agree. Let's shift gears. I know you really want to talk about this, so I'm gonna give you the floor because I didn't watch it. I'm not familiar. So Team USA had a strong start to the World Championships in Oregon. The new residency of West Coast D-Mix is back. Did you go?
No, I wish I was trying to get tickets like all weekend. I ain't even gonna hold you though.
Okay. So a number of great performances occurred and a couple of podium sweeps, including in the men's 100-meter dash, where Fred Curley won the 100-meter world title. D, what were your thoughts about the World Championships as a whole, and your thoughts on that disqualification?
Well, let me start as a whole before we go into this qualification because I do have some words on it. First off, as a whole, Team USA is showing up. They heard that the track meet was in on their home turf, quote unquote, in the USA, and they are showing the hell up, both on the men's and women's side. There's been just a number of just really impressive performances. I think it's like the second or third time in history that the U.S. men have swept in track in the 100 like that, the World Championship. So really impressive. For a while there, I thought the Jamaican men had a real strong hold of a lot of the sprints, but it seems that the American men are making a comeback. With that being said, the Jamaican women still have a strong hold on the women's 1 and 200 meter, and that is okay. I want everyone to know that's okay because the Jamaican women have some dogs on them. I also want to give a lot of credit to Fred Curley, who previously used to run the 400-meter dash. I was in college running track and field. I remember him being a 400-meter runner. So funny now seeing him just dominate. Like he ran 43.4 in the open four. So like him running, okay, I put it like this: he has the strength to run 43.4 in the four, but he has the foot speed to run 9.7 in the 100. His 200
Okay.
might be something insane. Um, but yeah, that's all I got. It's good stuff. Make sure you guys are watching. We still got some events through the end of this week, I believe. So make sure you guys are watching NBC, CNBC, Peacock. Pause. Uh,
You don't have to say balls for Peacock. It's a network.
I don't know, but you don't know whose Peacock we talking about. So you
All
got
right.
to,
So let's shift to college.
yeah. There's some college football on Peacock. Shout out to Notre Dame.
Yeah. Oh God, Notre Dame. All right. So let's talk about the Pac-12 and Big 12. They ended their potential contract talks amid the recent news that UCLA, USC, Texas, and Oklahoma are leaving their respective conferences. D, where do you think this leaves college football now?
We are in trouble, Mr. Postman. We are in trouble. We are not going to get the college football that we are so used to in our great country any longer. And it's okay. I thought Kurt Herbstreit put it in a pretty good way. He basically said, "Yo, we're trending towards three super conferences," and I think that's pretty much what it's about to be. I think you're about to have the SEC. I think you're about to have the Big Ten, and I think you're about to have a conglomerate mess of whatever power conferences are left between the uh, the um, the Big 12, Pac-12, and the ACC. And what I definitely could see happening is that between those three, they make two bigger leagues, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
Yeah, kind of like professional. Get the NFC and the AFC playoffs, meet you at the championship between the conferences.
hmm So I could definitely see something like that. Um, I think we're going to also enter in a way with similar with how we're seeing, how we've seen Adam Silver kind of reinvent ways to make the NBA season a little bit more interesting. I think they're about to find ways to make the college football season a little bit more of an interesting product to watch on the regular. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like this. Imagine if we get the Pac-12, Big 12, and ACC into one big jumbled conglomerate of a conference. You could essentially make that like a little bit of a small in-season tournament or something along those lines. Um, I don't know how. I don't even know if it's possible. But I do think with Oklahoma and Texas going into the SEC, and with USC and Southern Cal going into the Big Ten, I wouldn't be surprised if one or two more teams also join those four teams each into the SEC and into the Big Ten. And then I think if that happens, then I think you're going to see probably the merger of the Big Ten, Big 12. I mean, the Big 12, the Pac 12, and the ACC. They're going to call it the North American Football Conference.
The North American Football Conference, NAFC. That's actually has a nice ring to it. I was listening to Paul Feinbaum that he said something really interesting. So if you're the ACC, you got to sit Notre Dame down and say what's going to take get you to join, because they're the last big piece on the board. So and I agree. Like if you're the ACC, it's like Notre Dame, you're in our conference in every other sport except football. What we got to do? And he also said something really interesting. It's like if Notre Dame goes somewhere else, like don't be shocked if Clemson is like, all right, we out of here. We want no parts of this because we'll never contend for a championship in the ACC, which is a wild statement to make because the ACC used to be the premier conference once upon a time. It's sad how down Miami and Florida State are, because if those teams are even remotely good,
it's different. Easier. It's a whole different conversation, which is why the U being bad and Florida State falling off since Jameis left.
Like, dude, if those two teams were even somewhat good, it'd be a lot easier to go to Notre Dame and like, hey, come join us. Because now it's like, oh, just beat Clemson and you're in the college football playoff.
Just stay undefeated and beat Clemson and you're in the college football playoff every year.
And you wouldn't see Clemson until the championship game. So you get to play Wake Forest. What's the North Boston College?
No, they would probably be. Well, if that was the case, they'd be on our side of the ACC then. So they play us. They play UVA, UNC, Duke. It's Georgia Tech, Miami,
and Florida State.
Nah, Florida State's in the Clemson side.
Okay, but yeah, like it's a pretty easy. Like I think you said it 3 weeks. So the ACC has wet the bed. And now they're going to be left in the cold. So, who are they going to reach out to in these other conferences? You're going to reach out to Washington. Hey, Huskies, come fly to the East Coast 4 times a year to play. So you're going to reach out to Cincinnati. Like, who's out there that's appealing?
You got to reach out to the Marylands of the.
And Maryland just left the ACC like 12 years ago. Like, they're not coming back. Like, do you go to the SEC and say, hey, Florida, like your chances of winning will be easier over here compared to the SEC? Like, do you do that? Like, do you go to the SEC and start poaching teams that may be interested in leaving because it's too competitive?
Yeah.
Like, can you do that? Like, hey, like I'm trying to think some teams that aren't like Georgia and Bama, but would be attractive, like UF.
But the thing is, some of those schools, they're not. I think in some instances, like I think some. Like for Florida, for example, I don't think Florida would want to be in a situation where they're in a conference with Miami and Florida State.
Really? I think that'd be really interesting, especially in regards to recruiting. Like it's already tough as hell down there anyway, but to have all three in the same conference, like that's pretty cool. Like have each school play the other once a year. That sounds like a lot of fun. I know UF and Florida State play every year, but it would be cool to have like Miami play UF. And then UF go play Florida State and just go around like that.
I think they don't want to do that though.
No,
they don't want to be in the same conference with each other.
Because you got to go get a big dog somewhere, and there aren't many big dogs left. You need to go to Kentucky, you go to Arkansas. Hey guys, come play with us. Like no, like that.
Nah, but like some of those teams, they want to stay in the SEC. Kentucky wants to stay in the SEC.
Yeah, it's the money. Yeah. So you got to go get a big dog that feels slighted because they let Texas and Oklahoma in. Like you got to go find.
Or you got to get some of these mid-tiers, really good mid-tiers, to bump up a grade.
Yeah, but that's hard too, right? Because the only team that's been able to do that really is Utah, right? Like Utah has been successful enough, long enough to join. Well, now the Pac-12 isn't worth anything, but there was a period in time. Like who else? Like what other? Like Boise State had their run. They're not good anymore. You have Cincinnati, who's on this run. You got UCF. I think UCF is joining the Big 12, right? I think there are conversations about that. Like, who else? What mid-tier school has had that level of success?
I also think another option would be to keep these conferences intact, the Big 12, Pac 12, and the ACC, and use the remaining teams that are in to just kind of have contractual obligations to feature all three, feature the other two teams in their schedule every year. That way, maybe you're able to fill in maybe some of the gaps left in by like a USC, a UCLA, and or Oklahoma and a Texas. And I think where this gets you is it puts you in that strong mid card conversation. And I think this allows you, if you have a one-loss team or an undefeated team, allows you to keep a team or two that's relevant enough, playing competitively enough. Because what I don't think is going to happen is that I don't think that with some of these bigger conferences, they're going to take away like, hey, let's just say we get Clemson to stay. And let's just say maybe we do get Notre Dame to stay. Or maybe we keep the teams that we have, but keep the way that it currently is. And we add in that you got to play one Pac-12 and one Big 12 team a year if you're the ACC, and then so on and so forth. If you're smart, you're scheduling your games to play like, hey, Oregon, like, hey, Clemson, Oregon, they got to be on the phone almost instantaneously.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're the ACC, do you call Oregon, right? Like, is that worth Oregon's time? Because then you're gonna have to fly across the country 4 or 5 times a year.
You tell them, hey, we don't want you guys to leave your conference. We just want to make sure that as a whole, Pac-12, we ensure that we schedule games with each other. Fuck all this FCS Valley School. Nah, you come to Raleigh, North Carolina to play NC State middle of October.
So let me ask you this. If that does happen, because this is very interesting, and we'll get to the NFC West in a second. So say that happens, and then you have, let's say, a 2-loss Alabama team that won the SEC championship game. Let's say they lose to Texas, and then they lose to, I'm trying to think who's on that side of the bracket in the SEC. Like they lose to Texas early in the year, then they may lose to, let's say, Arkansas later, but they run the table, beat Georgia in the SEC championship, and they're the SEC champion. And then you have an undefeated Clemson team, and their best win is against, I don't know, a Florida State team that just happened to be good. Like, who would you put in? And Clemson's the ACC champion with no Notre Dame, right? So Clemson has played Oregon. They beat Oregon. Oregon is okay. Oregon's going to, the Fiesta Bowl. Not the Fiesta Bowl. I'm trying to think of another. They're
a 9-10 win team, though.
Yeah, they're a 9-10 win team. Their only loss is to Clemson, so they're going to a New Year's Six bowl. And Clemson is a one-loss Clemson team who is the ACC national champion. The ACC champion, or 2-loss Bama team that's had a tougher schedule, who's the SEC champion. Right? Like that's what we kind of. I take.
But then we're in the same situation that we're in right now.
That's true.
We're in the same situation. If they were smart, what they would really do is they would sink a conference and then say win your conference and you make the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Then in 3 years they expand it to 6, which I've been saying 6 is the perfect number because the best 2 teams in the country should have a bye. And
then 2 at-large bids.
Mm-hmm. Then people say, well, that's a game thing. Well, hey, take off. Look, fam, Alabama, you don't need to be playing Southern Valley State in the middle of November just because. Like, ayo, dog. Stop it.
Now, at the same time, though, with that being said, for Southern Valley State, that's their payday, right? So Alabama's like, we'll pay you $1.5 million. Come get your ass whooped. But that $1.5 million is going to fund their athletics department. So those games do have some meaning to smaller schools who rely on those games for funding. You don't care?
That's all.
Fuck them kids.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? But, I get you. I hear you. But
Like especially HBCUs, right? Like that is a way HBCUs earn the revenue for the athletics department.
But it's a two-sided sword because you're hurting yourself in the long run in terms of like, yo, you ain't playing no dogs. You know what I'm saying? When it comes time, if you're an on the bubble college football playoff team, the committee's gonna remember that. Like, yo, y'all chose to go play Southern New Hampshire University.
Not Southern New Hampshire.
Instead of
I think that's a real school.
Yeah, no, they decided to go play ITT Tech instead of going to play Virginia Tech, and now they're upset that they're not in the college football playoff. Well, I don't even know what to really tell you. Well, they're going to say you got to play everyone in front of your schedule. Like, yeah, but I've also seen y'all schedule games like 2 weeks prior. So what
That's
is what?
true. That's
What is
true.
what?
All right, you ready to talk about the NFC West?
Let's talk about it, people. We starting our NFL preview, our divisional previews.
That's right. And every year, you and I, we pick, we select each team's record. And that includes their total record, their division record, and then I believe where they finish off seeding wise, the division winner, the biggest storylines, breakout player, and the division MVP. Anything else that might be lingering. After that, after we do our division previews, we'll then go into our playoff predictions, and that should line up to week 1 of the NFL. So, D, we're going to start off in NFC West. What are the records that you have for each team in the NFC West from worst to best?
Worst to best. So, finishing 13th in the NFC, I have the Seattle Seahawks with a record of 5-12, including 2-4 in their division. Hey, man, I'm going to say that this team can field 5 wins.
Okay.
I'm just going to, that's my reckoning behind it. You can win 5 games. Finishing 11th in the NFC with a record of 6-11 and 2-4 in the division, the Arizona Cardinals. Listen, everyone's always saying, yo, Cliff Kingsbury, his team start off slow and then they pick up. This is the year I say Cliff Kingsbury's team starts off like 0-5 and they pick up steam, but it's just too late.
Okay.
Like I definitely see them finishing like I definitely see them starting 0-5 and then going like 6-5 to finish the season to finish 6-11.
Okay.
So or 0-6 to start the season, I guess. But all right, finishing 8th in the NFC and missing the playoffs by a game. I have the San Francisco 49ers, 9-8, 4-2. That shit last year was a fluke. I'm not buying into it. Fuck out of here. I don't give a fuck. This is pure hatred. This is pure saltiness. This is pure I don't give a damnness. 9-8. I'm not impressed. They don't move the needle for me. You got Jimmy G at quarterback. Fuck out of here. You got to deal with that. I ain't even going to explain it because that's my explanation. And then finishing third in the conference with a record of 11-6 and 4-2 in the division. I have the defending Super Bowl champion, LA Rams, 11-6. I think. I think coming off of a Super Bowl victory last year, they're gonna, still be a really competitive team, have some championship pedigree. Don't know if I think they're going to win it all, but I definitely think they're going to be in contention and competitive pretty much all year.
Okay. I like that list. Mine's a little different. I have more faith in other teams than you do. So I have Seattle. Seattle for me is the 15th team in the conference. That team is terrible. They should not be on TV at all. I got them at 3-14 and 0-6 in the division. That team is awful. No, you got Tyler Lockett, you got DK Metcalf. Like I wouldn't be surprised if the Seahawks had some sort of fire sale during the season. Like we take it for Bryce Young. DK wants an extension. Like get the picks while you can. And this is going to lead into one of my biggest storylines later. We'll get into that, but I don't have any faith in Seattle. Russell Wilson covered a lot of holes on that team, and he is gone. You're about to find out that this team is garbage. The offensive line is garbage. The running backs are garbage. You're going to find out that DK can't do it by himself. I have no faith in Seattle.
Man, so you're telling me you think the Seattle Seahawks win 3 games next season?
3 games, dog. Have you seen
Three.
Drew Lock play football? There's a reason the USTA was teeing off on Drew Lock doing Wimbledon because they know. The streets know. Drew not that dude.
Tell me about the
Next,
card.
the 7 seed. So the last team into the playoffs have the Arizona Cardinals at 8-9, and I have them 3-3 in the division. We're going to go back. This is another storyline that I have, but I'll talk about it now. Kyler Murray has not gotten that extension. I think that affects his play the entire year, and we'll get into that a little later. For me, the 6 seed in the NFC, the Los Angeles Rams, I have them 11-6, 4-2 in the division. They play a first place schedule. It's a really hard schedule. Not to say they're not going to be a good team. They'll be a great team. I just think they'll be the 6 seed. And for me, let's see, the 3rd seed in the NFC, the San Francisco 49ers, I have them at 13-4, 5-1 in the division. They have them losing to LA. Kyle Shanahan is that dude. And if Trey Lance can just be anything better than Jimmy Garoppolo, you got Brandon Ayuk, you got Debo Samuel, you got Trent Williams who just signed an extension. Ryan Shanahan is the best run game coordinator in the NFL. And if Trey Lance can give him anything that resembles a top 15 quarterback, this San Francisco team and Maga Bosa are going to wreak havoc.
Bless my dog. He was allergic to the bullshit that you just said about the fucking no. This is my saltiness. I'm just not seeing it. I'm not seeing what y'all are seeing, but hey, maybe they'll just have to show me like they did last year when they beat a team who never scored an offensive touchdown.
Hey, you know. So tell me about what's up, Gator J. D.
It's good, Gator J, bro.
Talk to me about your storylines.
In the NFC West, I think the biggest storyline this year are going to be. I think there's going to be two. My personal ones are going to be how the LA Rams look like they can repeat as Super Bowl champions.
Yep.
And the second one's going to be how Cliff Kingsbury's, instead of starting out hot, he's going to. I really believe he's good. The Cardinals are going to start out 0-5, 0-6, and they're going to. And the thing is, I bet you they're going to be a really good team and lose games by like field goals on bullshit stuff, like bullshit, like Charger-esque. They might take the keys from the Chargers. Like they might be the NFC Chargers.
Okay. I
believe that the Rams, the Chargers and the Cardinals play each other. Yo, no team is going to win that game. I guarantee you. Right now, I'm calling it. No team.
Hide that game in the 1:00 window. Make that the 4:05 game.
No. Please make that the 4:05 game because we all need to witness them. I love football games when neither team wants to win, like the Raiders and the Chargers to end the season last year. It's like, yo, y'all like it's like, yo, like you really don't want to win. Like, you really don't want to win. I don't know. Well, that's me though.
So I cheated a little bit. I had quite a few storylines, so I'm going to whittle it down. My biggest storyline is going to be Cliff Kingsbury's hot seat because he is a fraud who did not deserve that job to begin with. He got that job because he touched the hem of Sean McVay's playbook. It is time to expose this fraud. Get him out of here. He does not deserve to be a coach in the NFL. And if he starts off 0-6, you ain't got to worry about it. His ass is in the street. They ain't having that. A connection to that is the Kyler Murray extension. The Cardinals did not give him an extension. I think that is going to affect his play for the worse. Anytime you have your agent send out a 17-paragraph explanation of why you deserve an extension, you already done lost. I have no faith in the Cardinals, even though Nuke is back. And then the second one for me, and I think this is kind of going under the radar, is this being Pete Carroll's last year coaching in Seattle. Maybe not in the NFL, but definitely in Seattle. Pete Carroll does not want to rebuild anything. He's in his 70s. He wants to win, and he wants to win now. I think at the end of the season, there is some sort of parting ways between Seattle and Pete Carroll, especially if they do the fire sale, which I think they will, and trade DK and Tyler Lockett for picks. Like Pete Carroll is not here for any kind of rebuild. So I think this is low-key Pete Carroll's last year in Seattle.
What if, on the off chance, now hear me out on this one. What if we're both wrong and the Seahawks turn out to be a halfway competitive team?
And then Pete Carroll deserves to be coach of the year. Pete to Arizona. So Gator, you are a mind reader because that was on my mind. I did not want to say it. I could totally see like if Cliff Kingsbury underperforms, Pete Carroll going to Arizona. I could see that.
It's gonna be
Or
so fun.
one of these AFC West, whatever AFC West team that underperforms, because one of them have to underperform. Pete Carroll going to that team.
Sir, first off, when we get into the AFC West, I can tell you right now, everyone has all 4 teams making the playoffs. I have the opposite. Yo, you can't have that many good teams in one division and think everyone's going to make the playoffs. I have one team making the playoffs.
Really? So I know the
Because
AFC West is probably next week, but yeah, I have all 4 in. Like I did the thing like all 4. But that's next week. Let's focus on the 49ers. You can cuss me out next week. Who is your breakout player this year?
breakout player this year. I like Rashad Penny, running back for the Seattle Seahawks. I think he's primed to have a workhorse type load this year. Pause with the exit of Russell Wilson. I think they're going to lean on the run game heavy. So I like Rashad Penny.
I'm going back to San Francisco. Trey Lance. This is it. Like this is it, kid. You drafted top 5. This is it. This is your season. Kyle Shanahan is the master of building offenses with guidelines and barriers to make life for his quarterbacks easier. Trey, just read the paper, listen to your coach, and you'll be just fine. For me, it's Trey Lance. Okay, I hear you. Like, and I could fall flat on my face, and I understand that.
That wasn't real, by the way, for the people who are listening. That was not real.
Nah, that was real. Who's your MVP?
This is how narratives get painted. This is how narratives get painted.
I'm here to push narrative.
Yo, what do you do when your girl try to paint a narrative about you that's just flat out hilarious?
I just laugh, but all right. True.
I got that. My girl tried to paint a picture that I was a Pog watcher. I was like,
what is a Pog watcher? Hold on now. What is that? I've never heard this term. What is a Pog watcher?
You know what a Pog is?
No, like the Pogs we used to play with as kids? Like is that what I'm hearing?
No.
What is a Pog? Is a Pog an acronym?
Have you seen that video on the internet?
No, I have not. No, I got it. Can I search this? Is that what it is, Gator? Or is he right? Is this what it is?
No. I mean, he's got 3 of the 4 letters right. Here, let me tell you what the P should be.
Okay. Yeah, you are. She right though. Your girl right. She is correct.
The thing is, but she wasn't right. So like she's saying this, and I'm laughing, and she was like, "You're laughing because it's true." And I was like, "No, I'm laughing because you're very wrong." And I was like, "But the fact that you're wrong just means that I did a good job." Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? What Drake said is more. I think it's more attractive when you hold it down. My means did that. They held me down. They ain't gonna speak on it.
There is one narrative that annoys me, and she's right, by the way. There's this narrative when I was single that my mom had that I was cheap, and I was not cheap. When I took girls out, I was just very efficient with my money. Like my mom tells that story all the time, and it annoys the hell out of me. She was like, "My son was so cheap."
Offering the 2 for $20.
Yes, yeah, hell yeah! I was doing 2 for $20. Let me tell you that the best. Here's some game for you young boys. This is what I used to do back in college. Back in the day, Bonefish Grill had bang bang shrimp on Wednesdays for $5. So what you do is you text her at 8:30 when you know she's already eaten dinner at the cafeteria, and then you can take her to Bonefish, get an order of the bang bang shrimp, get 2 drinks, and that $20 can stretch plus
Dog. No, when you the time frame that you're referring to, that y'all had payphones then. Y'all had payphones.
No, that was 10 years. Chill out, man. That was 12 years ago.
Your dollar wasn't stretching the way the dollars need to stretch nowadays. Inflation wasn't the thing the way it was. Y'all had payphones. That's true. No, y'all had payphones. Y'all was rocking the baggy clothing when you was in college. What are we doing here?
I wasn't. Were we? No, we weren't. But yeah, I mean, there are ways to do that now. Right now, instead of $20, I'm sure it's $50 because now everything's high as hell.
50, dog. $100 is the new $10.
Dog, if you going on a date that costs $100, you better be marrying this person. Ain't no way. But then again, excuse me,
Think
a
about
dinner
it. If
a
y'all
dinner
both
is
get a drink,
$50.
if y'all both get a drink, there's an appetizer, and y'all both get
That's where no
and
ad.
y'all both get an entree.
Who
You
ordering
right at you at 60, 70.
dog? Ain't no way I'm ordering appetizer and drinks. It's gonna be one or the other.
Come on. Hey yo, sometimes the buffalo cauliflower got a hit.
The buffalo cauliflower be there next time.
Don't let them have clam chowder. Oh, I might bust it open with clam chowder. Who do you think is going to
Look,
be the division MVP though?
Aaron Donald. Any division Aaron Donald is in, he's the best player. That was
Okay. Well, because I also agree with you, and but don't want to say Aaron Donald, I am going to say that the division MVP Matthew Stafford.
okay. I could see that as well. Anything else for you on the NFC West? Any story that you want to keep your eye on? Any
Yeah,
last thoughts?
I'm going to push this agenda right now, and let me bring
Yeah, push the
this
agenda.
up a little
That's the
closer.
slogan for the show. Push
Is
the agenda.
this
Pushing
on?
agendas.
Is this thing on? I'm going to push the agenda that I'm not sold on the San Francisco 49ers.
Okay.
And I want to remind y'all of what I said maybe 6 months ago when the San Francisco 49ers beat my Green Bay Packers in Green Bay on some bullshit. By the Green Bay Packers, not by the San Francisco 49ers. You will never find a bigger hater of the San Francisco 49ers going forward than this brother right here. Just like you will never find a bigger hater of the University of Georgia football program than this guy right here. Georgia, I remember what the fuck y'all did and what y'all cost me in that national championship game. It's I'm not sold on the 49ers. And I don't care what none of y'all said. Yo, they don't want to they don't even want to pay Debo. They don't want to pay they number one. That's all. That's all for me.
I am going to push one agenda too, and I just thought of this and it makes so much sense. Jalen Ramsey, Defensive Player of the Year.
What?
Jalen Ramsey, Defensive Player of the Year. Nah, that don't sound right. Let's do this. Let's push this agenda. Can Cooper Cup do it again? That's another storyline I want to talk about. Cooper Cup. Can he do it again?
No, it's historically that's
I mean, can he
historic.
be the best receiver in football again? Not put
Oh,
up the numbers. Can he be the best receiver? Because he was the
well,
best receiver in football last year.
I think he'll be a top 5 wide receiver easily. But I mean, Devontae Adams is the best receiver in football.
And then you know what? Let me scratch that. Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year, because he's the best defensive player since Lawrence Taylor. Let's do this. I think this will be his 4th Defensive Player of the Year. Give it to him every single year.
Think so?
Dog, Aaron. We talked for the Super, and I wish I had made this bet. I thought about this the other day, and I was so angry at myself. The week before the Super Bowl, you and I got on here, and we talked about prop bets, and I talked about the sack one. I think the sack total was over under 2.5, and I said Aaron Donald to get that by himself, and I didn't put money on that. I should have put 1,000 on that because I'd made a lot of money because I think they got 2.5 sacks in like the third quarter, but. Aaron Donald, Defensive Player of the Year.
I like this question by Gator J. If you want to read it to the people.
Yeah. So, how much does Allen Robinson cut into Cup's production? That is an excellent question. I forgot all about Allen Robinson.
I think he's going to feel similar to that Robert Woods role. So I think,
yeah.
Well, I think there will be. I think Cup's numbers may drop by 5%, but not much. He's still the clear third down guy. He's their best option and he's their best offensive skill position. So I wouldn't say much though.
He's the bread and butter. I think if the bar is the season he had last year, he's not going to reach that. But I think he's going to be a really great wide receiver. He's wide receiver 1 on the Rams. Last night was the home run derby. Juan Soto won. Did you watch it?
Oh yeah, I watched Juan Soto. He was yanking him. Yo, my favorite thing about watching baseball is whenever I see a player hit the ball, I just be like, yeet. That's what they be doing. They just yeet. Especially when they like, you can tell like a good one too, when like the player knows too, when they really just yank one out the park, they be like, yeah, I did, I knocked that motherfucker out of here, that's gone too. But yeah,
So you
bro,
mean to tell me you sit on the sofa during the home run derby and just yell yeet for 3 hours?
no, I'm talking about whenever I see baseball highlights.
Okay.
You see
Okay.
it, you see it like they be, because the way they be showing baseball highlights, you just see it like you see this guy just throw this ball max velocity, 100 miles an hour, and this guy with a swing, yeet, and that thing lead a park. Nah, boy, them pitchers be sick as hell. God damn, that's what they be like. God damn, he knocked that thing too. That's what they be thinking. And
I
some
need
of
to
these
start
hitters in
watching.
the league, I'd be like, hey, yo, nah, this is insane.
I need to start watching baseball again. Saturday, LeBron James. Or was it Sunday? I think it was Sunday.
I think that was Saturday, but
Was it
same thing.
Saturday? Bron made his return to the Drew League. Did you? I didn't get a chance to watch it. I saw some highlights. What were your takeaways from Bron returning to the Drew League?
Okay. First off, there was a picture. There was this clip of a guy who got LeBron off him defensively with a little shake. My guy, I hope you put that clip in your
Yes.
highlight reel for life. Keep that.
Yes.
Second off, guys, next time you tell an NBA player why don't you try X, Y, and Z when guarding LeBron James, just remember that there were some non NBA players who tried to guard him too, and they had problems too. So what does that maybe tell you?
He's the king.
Maybe he's just really, really good.
For me, I enjoyed it. It was nice to see Braun back in summer league. You can tell he's really motivated this year. He's going to break Kareem's scoring title. I think he wants more. I think he's trying to miss the play-in tournament and try to get a top 4 seed. And motivated LeBron is the best LeBron, like extra motivated LeBron.
You think?
I
You
will
think?
say though, it's kind of corny. Him and DeMar were on the same team. Like, come on, man. Like 2 NBA All-Star, potential All
Who do you
NBA
think
players on
invited
the
them
same
out?
team.
Like
Oh,
Demar was
that's
like,
whack.
"Yo," Demar was like, "Yo, bro, why don't you come play?"
That's whack. Come on,
That ain't
man.
whack. That
Like,
ain't whack.
like, can you? Especially 2 dudes that got kicked off the team for Braun and DeMar. Like, they wanted to come hoop, show their skills. It's like, nope, you can't hoop. And then on the other side, like, not only do I have to guard DeMar DeRozan, who is cold. I don't think DeMar DeRozan gets enough respect. He is a cold MFer. Now I got to put
Mid range specialist.
just like his footwork is so elite. Like, if kids watch DeMar DeRozan in the post and in the mid range, watch his footwork. It is elite. But at the same time, I got to play Braun and DeMar. Why am I here? All they're gonna do is dunk on me and use me as a punching bag.
That's
No,
why. That's why I'm saying, Buddy, who got that shit off on Braun with the spin move. He gotta get
I
that.
would have retired. I would have hit that spin move. Coach, take me out. I'm going home to the missus. We're gonna have some fun tonight because that's what I've earned.
Nah, you don't mean that. You don't mean that.
Dog, let me tell you something. If I hit LeBron with the dream shake and then hit the fadeaway after, that's it. That's the last shot I'm taking ever. Ever. Hang my shoes in the
You
rafters.
telling everyone you locked Braun up?
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying I locked him up. I gave Braun that business, son. Watch your mouth. Like, dog, the shit I be talking to the kids in the neighborhood, like, I gave Braun that work. What you think you gonna get, kid? Shut your mouth. I'm a big fan of bullying children on the basketball court. That's where toughness is created.
Yo, what?
Dog. Hey man, them old dudes ain't showed me no mercy when I was a kid.
Wait, sir, excuse me?
I mean on the court, like playing. All right, man. Let's talk about college football. So coaches, we going back. This is the last one of the night. College football coaches are trying to put a salary cap on NIL money. How clownish is this behavior?
Big clowns. They're big clowns. They're big clowns. Yo, you know what this sounds like to me? They pocket watch it and they hate and they trying to find a way to reduce the advantages of some of these schools that are that are killing it right now with the NIL stuff. They're trying to find advantages they're trying to neutralize some of these advantages some of these teams are getting with just being able to just essentially pay players to come. So
like here's my thing about paying players, and here's my thing on the NIL. People talk about like it's a competitive disadvantage, and I wholeheartedly disagree. The
Talk to me.
NIL allows schools that have donors that have money to be competitive. Now you have especially like in Texas, right? Like now SMU can be competitive. TCU, Baylor, they have a chance because they have. I mean, it's essentially a drug front, right? Like you can have Frank's Auto say, "Hey, kid, I'll give you 30 grand and whatever car on the lot to come here to come play at Baylor or TCU." Like it opens the door for more schools who have donors with deep pockets to be more competitive. I think it adds more parity than anything. And if the big dogs or will continue to eat, Clemson's still gonna be Clemson, Bama gonna be Bama,
Yeah.
Georgia gonna be Georgia.
Yeah, they think rich people don't go to all these schools. Nah, rich people go to all these schools, man.
Can you imagine if the money at Virginia Tech, the money at UVA, Stanford,
Especially
Miami.
UVA, boy. You get a passionate donor base that really loves their school. All you got to do is have some competency and field a somewhat competitive team, and they'll want to donate. See, people always think there's only certain schools that are just in terms of college football that are always championship or bust, and those are teams with like extreme championship pedigree.
Yeah.
So, like, that's why like they're considered blue bloods. Because, like, if you've been to Kansas or Duke for basketball, you've probably seen your team win a national championship. At some point, that just becomes the expectation or part of it. But if you've been a Kansas football fan most of your life, you don't know happiness. You hate yourself sometimes.
And there are a lot of kids in this country will win a national championship. They do not care. Where can I get the most money? Who can give me the most perks? So
and that's not just in college. That's in professional sports too. Y'all need to recognize some of these people do not give a damn about rings. That is a fan-driven narrative. This ring's bullshit. The greatest quarterback ever has one ring. One ring.
Oh, you mean Dan Marino? Dan Marino has nothing.
No, I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, okay. Thank you for clarifying.
And sometimes winning a ring just means the stars aligned for you on that run.
There's a lot of luck in every Super Bowl run. Like you can look at something like for the Eagles, it was the Falcons game when that interception, that it bounced off Duke's chest and landed in Eagles players' hands. Like there's luck in every Super Bowl run.
Y'all's whole run was luck.
All right. Gator J says,
I will say if you go back and look at our games from that 2011 season when we won the Super Bowl, there wasn't a lot of luck. We were just smoking teams. We were just rolling up people's houses and beating them down. But I digress. Okay. I digress.
I'm glad you're able to jump in the Wayback Machine and enjoy the Packers run one more time.
Well, as I was picking was going through the schedule of the NFL season this year, I was like, man, how do I find myself always saying the Packers could win it all this year?
I am in that boat because your division is trash, and we'll talk about this later. Like everyone talks about the NFC East being trash. The NFC North is booty, absolute booty.
But y'all not. Well, we're top heavy though. Y'all not. So why you hating?
Y'all not nothing heavy.
Okay. Now we are top heavy. We the top.
Yeah, that's it. Like at least the NFC East has two competitive teams. Two competitive teams every year in the NFC East.
Haters are gonna hate. Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
Gator said, back to college football, do the head coaches now need to become a broker, or do the schools need to hire a broker to get the deals in place? This is where I get afraid for college athletes or incoming freshmen that they're going to hire agents, and now it gets really diluted, and that's where we're going because an 18-year-old can easily be scammed by an agent, to get higher percentage value, or a family member that thinks they're a broker and can leave money.
Now that's what I really think. It's the family member who thinks they're the broker, like your Uncle Ray, who.
Yeah. So that is my fear.
I think. And I don't mean to serious out with this take, but I think with another thing that could be interesting is the dynamic that this money can play in the lives of these young men who are maybe coming from underprivileged houses or families. Yes. I mean, when you introduce that type of money, people think it's all sunshines and roses, more money, more problems, as Biggie said. So you're asking a lot from an 18-year-old to make these, so I'm just hoping. So I'm not saying that these athletes shouldn't get paid. I'm just saying that, trying to put a salary cap on it, I don't know if that's the right way. I think it's more important to maybe help teach these young men and women how to financially spend this money in a way that allows them to take care of their families the way I know that they want to, but also be able to set themselves up for future financial success.
Correct. They need to be given the tools. And if they don't use those tools, that's on them. But giving them the tools or the opportunity to work on those tools will be key. Gator said, does it matter?
Does it make? He says, does it make other spots more important to schools?
I would ask for a clarifying question. Like, what other spots? Does it also make other spots more important to schools? Like other areas of the country to recruit? Or, does it make other sports? I mean, other sports are more important anyway. Like, you see anyone throwing money in rowing?
Yeah, so all this is it's a revenue thing. So I think when you think about the two most revenue generating sports, is football and basketball, and those two sports normally provide enough revenue for the remainder of the sports, depending on the school, right? A lot of schools, I think another thing a lot of people don't know is that most schools actually are probably good in at least one or two Olympic sports.
Yes.
Like, I don't care like what it is. At any Division I program, y'all are good at one sport. Y'all are going to be good at one sport, and it'd be the most randomest of sports too. Sometimes, like, it's not always soccer, track and field, tennis, golf, so on and so forth. Like, school could be good in fucking badminton, arching. They get money, sailing, and gets money from it. So all this is. But the average person doesn't know that. They just think, oh, your football team's normally bad. Like, or you guys don't have a football team. Are you a profitable school? But my G, we in the Final Four every year. I've yet to see Villanova play a down of football, but that basketball team, I'm pretty sure, is making enough money for them to be all right.
Same with Kansas. I'm sure Kansas football is in the red. I don't know how many season tickets they selling at Kansas football, but I know Kansas basketball through the roof. D, you got anything else with people?
People, I just want to remind you to move with grace, move with love, move with peace, move with harmony, move with some genuineness in your tone and in your intent. But at the same time, I need you all to recognize that this year, especially if I'm in a fantasy football league with you, I'm on your fucking head, yo. This year, I'm coming to win multiple championships, and I'm coming to win money. So if you are in my fantasy football leagues specifically, keep on talking that shit. You awakening a real joker. Ha 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 ha. That's my joker laugh.
That text was hilarious. And he's like, I thought my jokes were bad. For those who don't know, like, we're all in this group text, and D is our commissioner. I think D's doing a great job. He catches a lot of shit every single day.
I do.
I do. I'm glad they pushed back on it. When you were like, remove the tight end and have two flexes, I was like, I didn't
like their argument. I get what they were saying, but what their argument essentially was is, I'm scared that if we take the tight end position away, I then have to just field a team of skill position players.
Yeah,
it's going to devalue the tight end. Hey, dog,
there are
5 tight ends. Really, I think I'm doing everyone a service by doing this.
Well, they're saying that the draft strategy changes, and you don't have to be as good at drafting or as savvy as drafting because tight ends are devalued. Like, I get their argument.
I think I see that argument. My argument is that I completely see it the opposite way. I think it's easier. I think it's way easier to just draft if you have the standard stuff, because if you have a tight end in there, I mean, you just got to put a tight end in there. After Kelsey and Andrews and Waller and who's the one?
Goddard.
and Goddard, no, not
like
Goddard,
Gesicki,
Kittle go.
Yeah.
After they go, then it's like, all right, well, the drop off of tight end is significantly different.
Yeah.
So my thing is, if you're a good drafter, you don't need a tight end. You can find two more skilled position players, no matter the player. And
here's
that's not
what I would do.
A tight end too. I still think people could draft the same way they could.
For me, it would be like, especially if I'm at the end of the first, like I would grab Kelsey and Kittle, and you put them in my flex.
Okay. Okay, let's go from there. Let's go from there because I hear you say that because you have two flexes, so you can do whatever you want. But I'm gonna tell you right now, your wide receiver position or your running back position is gonna be nasty, and you're gonna suffer because of it. But you're doing that knowing that you would know, I'm gonna have a weak position. It's gonna be at tight end or running back. What is that? I don't think that's a difference. I don't see the difference in doing that than doing the standard thing because. Let's just say your tight end was Kelsey and your flex was Kittle in a regular standard league. You'd be in the same position.
Right.
That was my argument. It was like, yo, I think y'all are just – that's why I kind of said what I said. I don't want to say what I said over these. That's why I said what I said. I was like, yo, y'all, come on now.
And low key, that's what I like to do that a lot. Maybe that's why I'm not that good. Like if I have the chance to draft two elite tight ends, like I will put one – in the flex if I can. I just value tight ends more than the average.
Which isn't bad. I think what I was trying to do essentially was give people the chance for true roster diversification. However you think you can draft or field a team fantasy-wise that can win you games, especially in a league where literally how many points you score matters and where you finish in the standings matter. I'm trying to give people full roster diversification, and everyone pushes back. All right, cool. So someone's going to get mad this year when they are clearly lacking in a significant area, and someone gets hurt, and their team goes off the deep end, and they're fighting for their lives, trying to just plug somebody in, because this is another thing that can happen. I don't want to say it either, because I didn't want to push the agenda, because I'm the commissioner, and I could really just do with this shit if I really wanted to. But that's unfair. I wouldn't do nothing like that. But here's another situation. What if, right, you have an okay team and the tight end position is really the position that makes you okay? Like if you had a decent tight end or your tight end started producing at all, you'd probably be a good team. And your then starting tight end gets hurt. So then you have to go replace a true mid tight end with like a replacement even more mid tight end. You're mad because that ends your season. You're fucked. I mean, you have to hope that the other people in your team really step up.
That's fair.
Versus if you had essentially a positionless roster with a quarterback, a defense, and a kicker, then all you have to do is just find either a tight end or I don't know. I strongly disagreed with everyone's takes, but hey,
it's a democracy.
It is a democracy, but it's okay because I'm telling you, with these new rules in place, I'm going to revisit that argument. I'm going to say, hey guys, I really believe in roster diversification. And then this is another thing. This is my last gripe. How are people for the manual draft order and knowing your draft order and being able to for the snake draft? How are people okay with that? But they wanted to keep it to a standard ESPN format for rosters.
Yeah, I was getting a little confused during that conversation because you can't trade picks. Like they were talking about trading picks, and
this isn't a keeper league.
This
is not a keeper league. Me and another guy in there in a keeper league where the picks make sense. I'm trying to trade it actually right now. I'm trying to move Keenan Allen off my roster, but it's hard. My thing was like, okay, if y'all are wanting to keep the roster standard, why wouldn't you want to keep draft? Like, no, honestly, I think knowing my draft, if I knew my draft pick in my league now, that then makes me really want two flexes instead of a tight end and a flex. If I find out tomorrow I got number pick in my own league, like, fam, I mean, fuck the tight end. I'm just gonna pick up someone. I'm going to draft the way I would. Like, I don't know, dog. I don't know. People
A
gonna
day in
think
the life of a commissioner.
I'm telling you, it really irked me because I was like, yo, y'all are just scared. Y'all are scared. Y'all are scared because if you change that, and you can, I still think you can draft the same way. I still think because after those 4 or 5 top tight ends, what are you drafting anyway? You're drafting wide receivers and running backs.
Yeah. That's it.
That's why I didn't understand. That's why my initial thought it was like, okay, if you don't get Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, Kyle Pitts, or someone
Gesicki.
else, you're just throwing out tight ends like that. Like if you don't get any of the tight ends out from the tier 1, then you're stuck with like tier 2, tier 3. Fam,
What's the point?
you
But I can
you
grab
really,
wide receiver too.
yeah, like you would much rather take a wide receiver 3 and 4 over mid-tier tight end 2 and 3.
Yeah,
And
I would definitely.
that was my biggest argument. It was like, yo, like you can, I don't know. I might try this argument again because now I'm thinking about it. I might be like, yo, are we sure we like our guys? I'm nah, this is what I'm gonna say because I really want people to think about like, are we absolutely positive that we want to keep the tight end? If we turn this into 2 flexes, I honestly, guys, I really think your rosters would be better off. But that's my soapbox for the day. Thank you for listening.
And thank you for listening to episode 64 Speak On It. Find us at @speakonit_pod. Follow us on IG in the Twitter machine. You can find me on the Bird app at MadAds14. D, take us home.
Follow me. You can follow me on Twitter at LosDeemix. It's LOSDEEMIX. As Danny said, make sure you're following him and make sure you're following the Speak On It page, staying up to date. Appreciate everyone for the love. Make sure you guys, make sure y'all are sharing the pod with your friends. Make sure you're supporting it. I mean, we really appreciate it, yo. And we love doing it, yo. Episode 64, Speak On It. Peace.